Hello everyone, welcome back. We're doing a reaction video today. If you see anything ever online where you're like, Robert needs to see this and talk about it, don't forget to send it to me in a message. Actually, messages kind of get lost. At me, tag me in the video itself, or try and send it to me. Try and send it to me in messages on Instagram, and I will include it in one of these videos. Please do subscribe, follow me on Instagram. It's at RobertWLSH for videos you won't see here. And as I always like to say as we get into these videos, creativity and individuality have no rules, but makeup has a theory. I'm basically saying, yes, makeup has rules, but we all know the rules, so we're good. So let's look at what we have today. So this says on screen, my makeup artist told me the secret. Somebody is spraying perfume into their eyeshadows and they are crushing it all up with like a spatula. And these are neutral eyeshadows and they're LA colors, so I guess they're not wholly expensive, but they do still cost money. So they're crushing them all up. Oh no, I see where this is going. They're getting like a squeezy bottle and then putting like a spoonful of each colour into this bottle. And oh, it's such a baby oil. This is a bit of a strange one because I think the product would have to be more crushed up to do what they're gonna do. Here's, okay, a few things. Let's just see her spray it. So it'll give you colour initially, yes. Here's something you have to remember. You can absolutely like mix products, right? There's no harm in mixing products together. But bear in mind how products react in certain situations. When you spray alcohol on shimmers or glitters, sometimes you can actually strip the shimmer. So if you spray alcohol or even some cleaning alcohols onto a glittery eyeshadow, you have to be careful how much you're using because the shimmer will just go, it will turn to like a silver. So if say it's a pink, it's almost like the dye or whatever is on, I don't know how glitter's made, on it comes off. So you might not keep that golden tone. I don't like this because everything settles down eventually, right? So I always think, how is that powdery formula within that oil going to act on your skin and behave on your skin, especially in the areas where there's like crevices and such, when it dries down? I would just invest. You can get, if you're not that bothered on price or quality of product, so much so, not quality of product, that's wrong to say, sorry. If you're not so much bothered about how the product is going to turn out, no. If you're okay with making your own body shimmer with some eyeshadows and some baby oil, you can buy a drugstore body shimmer for the same price as some baby oil and actually have something that is chemically tested and works together. That's my opinion on something like that. So this says recreating, oh, let me go back. This says recreating Georgia's method of doing eyeliner. So she's using like one of those lead pencils, which isn't actually lead, it's just called a lead person, and this person's just redoing it. Okay. Now I wanted to go, now let's look at some of the comments on this because they're gonna be pretty predictable. This is given prison makeup, you know, that kind of situation. Someone says, is that healthy for the eyes? Someone says most makeup isn't anyway, so it's hardly a difference. Actually, most makeup is tested around the eyes and it's not healthy for the eyes to a point where it's going to make your eyes better, but it's not unhealthy to use around the eyes unless it states otherwise. So it's healthier than using a pencil. Someone says, no, it's straight up coarse graphite. It's not dangerous. It's not dangerous in a chemical sense, but more so in the particles that are really coarse can seriously hurt the eye if they fall in. Yes, and then something that gets really confused with stuff like this is, it's called a lead pencil, but it's not made from lead, right? Somebody also said to this, no, there's very much a big difference. Makeup is formulated to be stable. Eyeshadow, despite being a powder texture, doesn't crumble the way graphite does. This person says, okay, so a couple of things in these comments. Lead, LED, is the this is funny. LED, LED, is the past tense of the action of being guiding someone. The word you are looking for is the heavy metal lead, LEAD, with an A. 2, pencils are made from graphite, which is carbon, which is an entirely different element that's not even a metal. So no, he's not going to get lead poisoning. 3, this wasn't a tutorial, it was a does this work? Is it just more Hollywood bullshit? But just in case, don't actually do this. Graphite in your eyes is still bad. Yes. absolutely do not do this. Like, this is stupid. Is it as bad as some of the crap we've seen online of people like curing nail polish to their face? No, absolutely not. But it's still not necessarily good.
I'm just finishing my makeup and I use this setting spray. And it don't say nothing about no glitter.
No.
What the hell is this? I'm big mad right now.
Yeah.
Imagine spending time getting ready. You go to spray your setting spray and it's just pure gold. Listen, this is why even if something doesn't need shaking, I give it a little mix just before I spray it, just like a gentle one. Like, this doesn't need shaking, but I would just do this. This, for example, is one that needs shaking. I feel like what's happened there is it's something separated or something's kind of gathered. Like, especially with shimmer, you'll notice there's some products, it all sits at the bottom. Where does your pipe go from the spray? Right at the bottom here. So when you're pressing, you're literally feeding from that bottom bit. Now, like most nail polishes, if any spray you're using on your face has a ball in, I don't know if you can hear that, it needs shaking. That ball is in there to mix it up a little bit. It's almost like a protein shake thing. You know when you put that weird ball thing in and you shake it up? Or if you put like those dryer balls in your dryer, it helps just to move things around. Not move things around, you know, soften things up, get things going. So that's a good test if something needs shaking and you can't see the product inside. It might have a ball in, not all the time. That's why I always do just give it a little shake up. This one, my spray from Jung Seymour, this is a mattifying spray. I don't know if you can see the white kind of, let me just give it a gentle shake. The white at the bottom here, that needs shaking up. Otherwise, you can see the tube is literally just sitting in it. So if I didn't shake it, I'm going to get a face full of white powder or something powder-like. This is oily skin girlies. How do you prevent this? I set my entire face with setting powder and matte setting spray and still end up like this after a few hours. Let me tell you something. As an oily skin girly, it's not about the finish, it's about where you start, right? All of you are tired of hearing this, but if this is your first time here, everyone say it with me. Setting spray, matte setting spray before foundation. I don't know how many times I can explain it without boring you all, because I think I say it every time I talk about oily skin or talk about that kind of the way that skin ruins foundation. No, oily people, no matter how much powder you use, no matter how much setting spray you use, no matter how much the formula of whatever you put on your face changes alongside those products, oil is still going to come through your skin. What ruins our makeup, us oily people, and some of you can say this word by word with me, comes from within our skin. It doesn't come from this way. So we may be protecting, and it does work for some people depending on your level of oiliness. You're protecting your foundation from this side. Foundation, powder, fixing spray, setting spray. They're not the same thing, but that's what people do. Our oil's coming from this way out. So no matter what kind of layer, no matter what kind of formula, what kind of like texture you have now made on this side of the skin, any kind of concoction, our oil is still coming through. Although the sebum in our skin is different to the oils in makeup remover, oil breaks down our foundation. We use oils to break down our waterproof foundation. If you went like this on your forehead one day and rubbed it on your mascara, it's going to break down your mascara. Slow down those oils from coming through, because it's going to happen anyway. Before you apply your foundation, do all your skincare. Mattifying setting spray. Soak, soak, soak. Dry, dry, dry. It will fix all your problems, I promise you.
Hello and welcome back to my series where I have realised that I'm 30 years old and I actually don't really know how to do anything in my life, and I'm actually just winging it, but not very well. Today I'm going to do my makeup the way that I normally do it, and you're going to...
I'm just going to pause it right here. So I have spoken to Sarah because I saw this on TikTok and I was like, please can I use your videos? And I want to say to you exactly what I would do, right? Because it's just, the way she does her makeup is perfectly acceptable. But one thing you find when you go online is everybody has an opinion on what you should and shouldn't be doing to your face. And the stuff that Sarah does in these videos are so normal. A lot of you probably do them too. But there's a few little changes, a few little directions that need to change to make this perfect. So I'm going to pause as we go through.
Point and laugh and say, are you doing your makeup like a 50-year-old who's just bought her makeup from Avon? And I'm going to tell you that yes. Yes, I do. Okay, so obviously starting with a wet beauty blender, And I have the Sculpted by Amy Dewy Finish Foundation in Porcelain because I'm the palest bitch. I got this recently. The foundation seems fine. I don't know if it's my application or my face that's not it.
Okay, so let's start with the application. The best way to apply a foundation, especially with a beauty blender, is a small piece at a time from the center of the face outwards. I noticed that Sarah here did half a face and then kind of blended this way. Start with a tiny bit, center of the face and the cheeks, especially on her skin tone, is where you get the most discoloration, so the most redness or, you know, something like that. So you want to cover those areas first. See what that does. You might find that actually, if you just blend out a little bit more across the rest of the face, I believe in taking your foundation all the way out, but not an even layer the whole way, right? You need more coverage here, especially if you get red, if you have rosacea, if you're white, basically, than you do on the outside of your face. So I would do a little bit less, because her skin's great before. You don't need that much coverage, and that is a beautiful foundation. So let your skin feel like skin, and don't take your foundation under the eyes, because when you then go to apply concealer, if you're going to use concealer, because then when you go to apply your concealer, you have even more coverage, and it's a little bit, it's too much. It starts to drag down and you get the lines under the eye.
Okay, so that is my foundation. This is how it looks, but this is in the bathroom. Who knows what it looks like in real life. I do have some dry skin. I literally only have dry skin around my nose. It's a really nice foundation. I used to use the Estee Lauder Double Wear, but it just got a bit too drying for me. Now, my main insecurity is this gigantic line on my forehead.
The less product in that area, the less notice it will be. I personally cannot notice it here, but one thing makeup can do, foundation specifically, is show up lines, pores, texture that you didn't even know was there. So go easy. That's why I always say start in the center and blend it out gently, and then see if you need that much coverage. You might even just need to use what's left on your beauty blender, wipe off on your hand and tap it over that area. Do you need coverage on your forehead?
Recently, I have bought the Buttermilk Bronzer by NYX.
Love.
All I do, right, is I get this and I put it on my face.
Okay, one key thing which is really interesting, I find a lot of people do this with bronzer, is they take the largest brush they can and then they kind of hold, no, that's too big, that's dramatic. And then they kind of like hold it here, and I think it's for precision. And then it's kind of just like this, which is fine. What I would suggest to you, as Sarah, because you have because your face shape is almost like heart-like. It doesn't dip in here with your hairline, but you're wider here and it dips down here, is kind of change up the positioning of your bronzer. Because what you've done here is you've applied the bronzer in quite a straight across what's it called, position, which can widen that area of your face. Yes, and I would get yourself, oh my god, none of my brushes are clean, how embarrassing. Either a smaller brush like this or an angled brush. The further down you hold your makeup brush, the stubbier, the heavier your application is going to be off product. If you hold your brush here and then tap on your hand, and then hold your brush up here and then tap on your hand, you'll notice the pressure's lighter. So hold your brushes midway, or no matter what product you're doing, unless you want it to be heavy. This is great. This brush from Anissa, it kind of has this dip here, so it kind of tells you where to do it. And then gently, pinky up. Come on. We're English, we can do the pinky, buff outwards to the hairline. Let me grab a bronzer. So if I was going to apply bronzer or even contour product on anyone, on myself, I start from this part of my face. Now, my face is quite long, but I'm going to show you how I would do it on you, even though we have different face shapes. I would start in this outside corner here. I say outside corner, it's under the cheekbone. And can you notice how I'm buffing the brush outwards? I'm not holding it too far down towards my ear. And then I'm going to bring it almost down this way. Not all the way, we're not trying to give ourselves like a beard, just a little bit more downwards. And then you can take it just up around the hairline here, but tiny, tiny little bits at a time, circling outwards. But when I come to this way, I'm going to circle out again towards the ear. And this is a motion we want to do with a lot of our products because it's softer. It applies the product more blended, and it blends with everything else. It makes our products look more blended together. So we want to go down this way a little bit, more like a V shape with your bronzer, but stop. I always say the middle of the eye is here, an invisible line. That's where you should stop with a lot of your complexion products. I hope that makes sense. The bronzer shade is also a little bit too orangey. I would go for something a little bit more bronze with your colouring.
And because I always put on too much, I just go over my beauty blender just a little bit.
That's
so that
fine.
it kind of
I do just think
blends out a little.
a more of a controlled application would be more beneficial.
Because I don't think that brush is like the best way to apply bronzer, but I have no idea about brushes or... But I also, and this is why I think that I do my makeup like a 50-year-old who has actually no idea. I've only recently started doing this. Putting about that bronzer, putting it on a eyeshadow brush.
Nice.
And then just kind of popping that in there. Or...
That's nice.
See, and then I'm doing this. I do this. And then I think, this doesn't seem right. And then
It's not wrong, but one thing you would notice that you were doing, and again, this goes for a lot of people, when we're doing eyeshadow or doing something around our eyes, try not to concave your eye shape by bringing the color. I've done it on me because this eye look is ridiculous. But if you're just going to like subtly do something, if you bring, actually let me show you, because I'm going to take my makeup off after this anyway. Watch what happens to my eye shape when I take even like a neutral brown and I close off this area here, right? Watch what happens to my nose. Watch what happens to the rest of my face when I bring a color in like that. It kind of darkens the whole eye area, and although you've done it very subtly, in different lightings, it can do the same thing. This area looks a bit more brighter, a bit more wider, whereas this area now looks, and if I do it on both sides, just be very careful. I know you haven't applied this much, but just be very careful where you're applying your product. So on you, exactly where you did it, on the lid, but just bring it out this way. You see where the black is on my eye here? Just bring it out this way a little bit. Don't bring it the whole way in, the whole way across, because then you start to close off your eyes.
use this e.l.f. Finest Fleck glitter eyeshadow.
Beautiful.
And just pop that on there. I brush my eyebrows, literally just with my eyebrow tweezers that has a little brush on the end.
That's a cute brush.
I know I need to get some kind of eyebrow gel, but...
Do you really need to though? You can if you want to, maybe go for one that's a little bit darker, but your eyebrows are very well groomed. Pencil them in a little bit, it's fine.
God, if I know how to choose a good eyebrow gel. Try and sort that line out in my forehead. And then I just put on my mascara. And that's it. I use the...
So Sarah keeps mentioning the line on her forehead here, and her face naturally moves and creates that line. Mine would too if I didn't have Botox in my forehead. But so, and foundation of course is going to move, especially a hydrating one, and when you frown it's going to move into those lines, you know what I mean? So that's what makes it more obvious. It's not an obvious line, it becomes obvious when with makeup.
Big Lash Revolution mascara. And embarrassingly, that is it. I just wiped the foundation off my lips.
There's one thing I wanted to say about the mascara as well, is she has this bright, beautiful eye color, right? And this kind of, and this blonde hair, a deep brown or a reddy burgundy brown on her lashes with that eye color. You wouldn't even have to worry about applying, you know, other makeup products because your eyes will be stunning. They are anyway now. So make the most out of that eye color, that eye shade. And I'm going to put in a little reel here about applying mascara, because I also did notice as well, if I'm being really picky, Sarah, is there was a slight gap between where your lashes start at the root and where the product started, which gives you this faint white line across the lash line, and it looks a little bit, and it kind of gives you this disconnect. That will be less obvious with a brown mascara, a reddy brown. Don't do this. If you are pumping your mascara like this to try and get more products out, you are really doing yourself a bit of a disservice. You are quite literally pumping air into the component here, right? So while you're trying to get those last little bits out, by pumping, you're drying out those last little bits, so you're not really gonna get them. How do you get all those last little bits of mascara out of your mascara that needs to be replaced every 3 months? I know. It's our eyes. We need to be very careful, very safe. When you're pumping air in, you're drying it out even further, so you're going to be able to get even less because it's all dried out. So here's what you do. You take your mascara wand, you put it in slightly like this, let it just sit on the top, don't put it all the way in, and then just circle, spin like this if you want to. Spin that wand all around the edge and even rotate as you go. Rotate and spin, rotate and spin. That way you're going to pick up a lot more product and you're not going to dry out your mascara in the process. Spin, swivel. If you stick to this color pattern, you see how all these browns have reds on you? Beautiful, beautiful.
Makeup on, because my makeup is like falling into this giant line in my forehead. It's all up in here, look.
Okay, eye makeup, stunning. Can you see that faint line I'm talking about? If you get your mascara right under there, wiggle, 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 and then roll forward, you're gonna get that line. This eye makeup's beautiful. Imagine if you didn't have color here, how much brighter that would be, and you just kept to this outside corner. This is because you shouldn't really be using foundation under your eyes. Just because foundation is formulated for these areas of your face that's a little bit thicker. The skin under eyes is super thin. It's not your skin, it's formulation, and it shouldn't be there. Concealer. Look how beautiful, right? Imagine now, bronzer just here, which it's kind of just shadowed her face. None of it here. Look how much that sculpts her face here. This kind of like, if we had like a mauvey lip color, or like what's it called? What's that color everyone loves in summer? Coral. And then like a nice brown, a nice brownie. Oh, stunning. Your makeup is good. What you're doing is absolutely fine. And I think it's incredibly brave for anyone, especially a woman, to put herself on social media and ask for people's feedback, because people are assholes. So I think she's done incredibly, incredibly well. There was also another clip where she did use another blush, and I think what's happening is people are telling her to use more golden, more orangey shades, whereas I actually wouldn't. I would venture towards pink a little bit more, or corals and stuff like that, because orange is overkill. So yeah, go and follow her journey down below. I think it's incredibly brave for somebody, like I said, for somebody to put themselves out there and say, critique me. I certainly don't ask for it. I get it, but I don't check it. But yes, it'll be really fun to see her journey. There's a few people that do stuff like this on TikTok, and I think you're just so brave and, like, you know, taking feedback so well, because people can be so harsh. She does do her base as well a lot better in another one, but I hope that helped. My inbox is open to Sarah, so she can reach out to me any time she wants. Okay, I hope that was good. I hope you learned something from that today, or took something from it. Thank you so much for joining me. Consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. It's so hot in this fucking room. Look at my hair. I need to leave. Bye.